What's up everybody, Fritz here. Do you have a 2 Series and hate the fact that your car did not come with an oil temperature gauge? Well, in today's video, we're actually going to remedy that problem and we're going to do it for a third of the price of the typical competitor. Let's get into the video. That's right, all of the 2 Series from the 228 all the way up to the M2 did not come equipped with an oil temperature gauge. Why? I have no idea. But I do know that the typical competitor usually charges about $300. They block one of the vents, and for something that just connects to your OBD2 adapter, I don't see how it could cost $300 and it's blocking one of the vents. So after doing quite a bit of research, I stumbled across this company over here that creates something very, very similar, and the look is pretty similar because it gives an orange display. And the readings that you can expect to get out of this meter are boost mode, exhaust temperature, intake temperature, water temperature, as well as a battery voltmeter. And you might be saying to yourself, Fritz, none of those things are oil temperature, and you're absolutely correct. However, we can infer our oil temperature based off of our water temperature. The oil temperature in the 2 Series runs about 9 degrees higher than our water temperature, and that's gonna be in Celsius. So everybody in the US, I'm sorry, but this gauge here is in Celsius. And if you're using this as a boost gauge, the measurements are gonna be in bar. But I think it's a fair trade-off. Getting back to temperature, oil temperature, if nothing's wrong, is going to be about 117 degrees Celsius. And if we're using our water temperature as a measuring stick to that, that means our water temperature should be 108 degrees Celsius. The best thing about this gauge is that you can put it wherever you want that's convenient while you're driving. All that you really need is a little bit of double-sided tape. Now, the other thing that I don't really like about this display is that the company's logo, Shadow Auto, is displayed in a bright white LED. Now, a good way to determine whether or not that white light is too bright for you or not is simply by plugging it in and taking a look at it with the meter in your hand. If you're like me and it annoys you, then you're gonna wanna watch along with this video as we black that portion out. But if it doesn't bother you, just go ahead and skip right over to this time card. So we're gonna jump right into blacking out the company logo. And here you can see what 3 coats of paint looks like, and we did go in the up and down and left and right direction to try to get better coverage. And all that you really need exposed is a small portion here, that small square right there, and you want to tape everything else off. That way paint doesn't get anywhere where it's not supposed to be. And then once you're happy with your paint job, go ahead and remove all the painter's tape and clean the face of the gauge off with something like alcohol. As soon as you've done that, we're going to move over to the next step, which is applying a piece of smoke tint on top of the gauge. This is gonna act like a screen protector and gonna give us a nice finished look. And what helped me with the trimming is the edge of the meter here has a slight slant to it. So if you want, you can just run your razor blade along that slant and it should look something like this when you're all done. Now, what I found really useful if you wanna hide the wires is right next to the OBD2 port, you can slide in the meter first, just like that, and feed it through a little bit. Now, just under the steering wheel, we have a gap here. You're gonna wanna insert a small grabber tool just like this and have it go towards the OBD2 port. Now, what's very important here is that you want to attach the grabber to the wire of the meter. You don't wanna have it directly grabbing the meter because you don't want to scratch the screen. So just stick your finger through that hole next to the OBD2 port and guide the grabber onto the wire. Once you've grabbed the wire, go ahead and pull out the grabber tool. And there we go. And now all that we do here is just take some double-sided tape, measure it out, and cut it to length. And now just attach it onto your desired location. As you can see here, I have the wire that pokes out right here, travels all the way up, using one cable management clip right there. Now, the reason why I wanted it there is because when I'm looking at this window right here when I'm driving, I want to have all my controls at my disposal. I want to see how fast I'm going, what my RPMs are, and what my temperature is. So this, for me, is the perfect location. For you, could be different. And now the last thing before we can test it is obviously plug it in. And because we fed it through, it has a clean feed just like that. Now let's test it out. Start the engine. And it works. So right now it's on voltage. Hit it again, boost pressure. That's gonna be our exhaust temperature, our intake temperature, and that right there is our water temperature. So we have a pretty simple install of an oil temperature gauge, or I should say water gauge. And just like that, you finished installing your temperature gauge on your 2 Series BMW. Now I know this isn't the perfect system because it's not an oil temperature gauge, but considering the price that we're paying it out and the aesthetics of it, I think it's a fair trade-off. And we get full optimization of our air vents, especially if you're in this California heat right now. Man, it is hot out here. I do not want one of my vents blocked. And if you're interested in picking up any of this stuff, I'm gonna leave everything that I used in this video in the description down below. Leave any questions that you have in the comment section. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.